All right, guys, welcome back to JT's Record Room. And yeah, I had a great 4th of July. Sean, Jum, and I drove down to Sacramento, California, and celebrated with my cousins on the Sacramento River in West Sac. It was really a great day. Hey, today being Thrift Store Monday, my vinyl finds for thrift stores on Monday, I'm going to show very, very, very recent vinyl finds. And for better or for worse, you might like some of them, but it's what I buy. They're $1.50, and I love thrifting. I always have. If I don't go to thrift stores, I start getting shaky and moody. So I need to go. And when you have a hunger for vinyl and you're not finding stuff, a lot of times you'll buy stuff. I mean, it's just $1.50 that you wouldn't normally. But what's so great about music is that often it breaks down the barriers of any snobbishness you might have had or attitude you had about an artist. And I'm going to show one in particular that I would have never bought the CD, would have never bought the record. He was a huge star in the late 80s, and I'll get to that. But let me go ahead and get started. Very, very recently, this was $1. And I'm a huge fan of this artist, and that would be Glen Campbell. And this is his live show from New Jersey in 1969. And this is just a fabulous album. It really is. And what more can you say about Glen Campbell? There's actually a lot. Him as a soloist, as a guitarist, his arpeggios are just amazing. I mean, I just, would wait for him to break on a solo on Galveston or any of his songs. And of course, his teaming up with the great Jimmy Webb with songs like Wichita Lineman, Galveston, Gentle on My Mind. Actually, that was John Hartford. But this is a wonderful album. I actually spun this twice in the past few days. I mean, it's really that good. And I never had it. I have a lot of Glen Campbell records. Very, very good. I'm always searching him out in a live show. Let's say without all the production and the strings, just to hear him with a band. And on YouTube, you can find a lot of that. And please go check out him doing Galveston with Steve Warner behind him. And the Glen Campbell solo is just through the roof amazing. So yeah, Glen Campbell. And I wanted to show one other Glen Campbell record that I found. This is so near mint and better than my two other copies, and that would be Galveston. And this is on a Rainbow Capital. And man, I mean, the song Galveston alone is just absolutely wonderful. Yeah, Rainbow Capital and Galveston. Now I'm going to keep going because today I've got a lot of records. Now, next up, this was $1.50. This is Nicole Larson. I wouldn't have ever bought this on CD or vinyl. But, listening to this, big production, she was the backup singer for Neil Young for A Lot of Love. And then she, had a great hit for A Lot of Love on this record. And there's some really fine songs on this, and musicians, and production. And she's a great vocalist. So that's Nicole Larson. And, I'm really a sucker for popular music. I mean, hence loving the Beatles. I like a well-written, well-crafted pop song just as much as any very under-the-radar, obscure, post-hardcore punk rock music, anything. I like pop music from all decades, and the 80s as well. I'm going to show some 80s records. And next up, now, Rich Strickler from Eastern Pennsylvania, my good friend Rich, we were talking about the band America, and that first album is just so amazingly great. Every track on that, that's produced by George Martin, and he mentioned this album, Hearts, and there it was for $1.50, and I'm going, man, I've never had this on vinyl. And this is their last, excellent album of a whole string of great albums. And my favorite guy is this fella right here, Dan Peake. Don't Cross the River, wrote so many nice songs, and he left the band after, I mean, this was one of the biggest bands in the land. And, I know it's soft rock and everything. I like mellow music. There's a time and place for everything. And my wife loves it. She likes more gentle music. So when I'm cooking dinner, often I'll put on, easier listening stuff like Paul Simon, um, a lot of stuff my wife likes. And that normally, I like edgier music a lot of times. But yeah, I like this stuff too. And next is a record that was so huge. This should be from 1970, and that would be The Carpenters. Richard Chamberlain originally had the hit with Closer to You or Close to You in the early 60s, I'd say 63. And he had a number of sleeper hits that later other artists, got into production and got big hits with. But, so you have Close to You. We've Only Just Begun, with that amazing, almost a Beach Boys-esque harmonies just slamming in behind on the chorus. Just so fantastic. And this is a really clean one. I think this one definitely beats out my, I love the old A&M jacket. Yeah, and let's see, this is on the old A&M label. So glad to have that one. I think this will be my my number one. And next up, guys, is a very, very big record. And this was so squeaky clean, I just couldn't pass it up. I think I have one or two of these, and that would be Carly Simon, No Secrets. There's the Hype. You're So Vain. Yeah, Carly Simon, No Secrets. And yeah, what's really cool about this? Oh yeah, Klaus Vormann, who did Plastic Ono Band with John Lennon's first album, is on this record, and Mick Jagger does unaccredited backing vocals on You're So Vain. Yeah, it's always. I always love those little tidbits, interesting information about records. Yeah, so Carly Simon. Now here's a record. This gal was married to Andre Previn, the great conductor, producer, classical genius. And this is Dory Previn. And this is On My Way to Where? On My Way to Where? And when I saw this, I mean, I paid $1 for this. It's just in mint condition. And so on this album, the musicians, I mean, on guitar, you have Herb Ellis. You have the great Bernie Ledden, from the early Eagles, one of my favorite. He partnered up with Gene Clark as well. And you have Tommy Tedesco from the Wrecking Crew on this record. I mean, just fantastic. And Carol Kay does all the bass from the Wrecking Crew on this record. So this is a real sleeper of a record. Very, very nice, very introspective, confessional singer-songwriter. And this record is from 1970. And let me show you the wax on this. This is on a very unusual label. All right, Dory Previn. And what's funny is that really the record's about her breakup with Andre Previn, and because he got together with Mia Farrow. And look how kind of karma plays. What happened to Mia Farrow with Woody Allen in later years. So anyway, okay. Next up, I was watching, it's really great to have JC at the flip side back. It's kind of like not having him in the VCs, kind of like having apple pie without the a la mode, right? I mean, seriously, great to have JC back. And so I was watching a video, I think his first video back, and he said he was out with, Michelle and his son, and they were digging through like rummage sales or whatever, yard sales, whatever. And he was finding, just records just totally beat. And then he comes upon one, and that was Miles Davis, Sketches of Spain. And then he pulls the vinyl out, and it's a 6i Columbia, and it's like near mint condition. And I was just practically drooling. And I was thinking about my thrift store finds. That very day, the previous day, and this is what I got, okay? That's what I got. This is my second haul from my very recent finds. And you know, Richard Marx is no Miles Davis, okay? All right? It's like the complete opposite. But this is what I found, and I have several other records as well. But this was really fun, and this is what I was talking about. This is something that I would have never bought on CD. You know, his music was plastered all over the radio. And I do have to say, I spun this when I came home, and then I went to YouTube to listen to Should Have Known Better, right? And his newer updated version with just, you know, 2 guitars, bass, and drums is absolutely killer. What an amazingly great crafted pop song. And of course, he's a great vocalist, and he's a big heartthrob to the gals, whatever, you know. But yeah, Richard Marx. I don't like to slight any, you know, performer. Some may not like it, and some do. I just, you know, I'm not very snobby about music. I like everything. I'm a bit of a garbage can when it comes to. I just love music, and I respect the production that goes into the making of the records. All right, and next up after that, Richard Marx from 1981, and this is their more commercial outing. And Ronnie James Dio was now out of the band. What a shame. But you know, Ritchie Blackmore, he keeps you know, pushing forward, and that would be Difficult to Cure, Rainbow. And, you know, this is their, you know, really commercial and biggest selling album. And this was recorded between Denmark and New York City with Joe Lynn Turner. And let me show you the tracks on there. You know, of course, you still had Roger Glover with Ritchie Blackmore, and Roger did produce this record. So this is really cool to have, because I've been collecting Rainbow records, and you know, this is my 4th Rainbow LP, so I'm really glad to have that one. And next up would be a Canadian band, and a big, you know, hard rock, you know, slightly metal, you might say pop, and that would be Triumph. And this is Thunder 7 from 1984. And this is recorded at Metalworks in Toronto. And the album cover art is so fantastic because it's a spin on the famous Leonardo da Vinci drawing. You know, definitely it's a takeoff of that. And great cover. I love this. And you have Follow Your Heart on this, Spellbound, Killing Time, and Rock Out, Roll On. And really happy to have some Triumph records. Definitely. Let me see here. Yeah, and this is just on the MCA. So Triumph. All right, and next up, I knew when I saw them, there were a few records, and I knew they were Canadian artists, and so cool to have this. So from Toronto, Canada, and from 1985, that would be Frozen Ghost. And two of these guys were in the band Sheriff, and it's just really cool to have. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a second spin. You know, this is good. There's some really nice tracks on this. So Frozen Ghost from 1985, and you know, this is one that was really stoked to find, and that would be Envy, Ain't It A Sin, and this is produced by Dee Snider. Yeah, from Twisted Sister, and this is from 1987, and Taylor Dane does her very first vocal appearance on a record on this particular LP. And here's the back cover, and this is good, and you know, this is a good one to have. I think this is one of my best picks out of all these this recent thrift store haul. Yeah. All right. And another band from Canada would be Honeymoon Suite. And this is pretty good as well. I don't know enough about it, but I gave it one spin, listened to about a third of the record, and here are the tracks on it. Yeah, Honeymoon Suite. And my next record that was a surprise, I had always heard about Michael Stanley Band. These guys are from Cleveland, Ohio, and this is really cool to have. This is, the great producer Eddie Kramer, who produced Kiss, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin. I mean, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. Yeah, and this was mixed at Electric Ladyland Studios. So this is North Coast, and really glad to have this one. Michael Stanley. Here's the tracks. I never had anything from this artist. And, they used to be on the radio, and I always enjoyed it. So, yeah, I'm really glad to have this one, and especially at $1.50. So, yeah, Michael Stanley. All right, and next up, I'll get going on these a little quicker. Here is a band from the UK from 1982, and I loved when Love Plus One, the single, came out in 1982 from this new wave British band. Just loved it, and that would be Haircut 100. And when I saw this, I was pretty delighted to see it, because in '82, I just remember a bunch of musician friends of mine, they would cover the song and they loved it. It was just such a catchy pop song. And there you go. And the main dude, he went on to a solo career. His name slips my mind at the moment, but he was with them for the one record. And this is a fine record. Yeah, New Wave, 1982. Haircut 100. Pelican West. And next up would be the last of the Flock of Seagulls records, and that would be The Story of a Young Heart. And this band is out of Liverpool in England. And yeah, I love A Flock of Seagulls. Absolutely. I'm crazy about the 80s. I love 80s music. But then I love 60s music, 70s, 50s, 90s, music of the last 20 years. Yeah, Flock of Seagulls. And this is very cool. Now here, this is The Call. They're actually from Santa Cruz, California. This is Into the Woods. This is a cutout. This is a very clean copy. This was just released on Record Store Day, just in this last year, and I have that sealed, and then I find an OG. And this is a wonderful record. If you don't know Into the Woods by The Call, sample it, check it out. It's very, very good. So very glad to have this one. Okay, two more to go. And here's one that kind of cracked me up when I saw it, and I've never had it on vinyl, and that would be Night Ranger. And what I love about this record is I just think about Boogie Nights and Mark Wahlberg. He goes to the door for that coke dealer, and he's in his bathrobe. He's yeah. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. They go in there, and the drug dealer insists on playing the track Sister Christian, and he gets all pumped up with a big motor in. Yeah. So that was, I mean, I just love that film. And well, the film, it's sad, and but it's, yeah. But that scene always sticks out in my mind for Night Ranger and Sister Christian. Yeah. There's the back cover. So glad to have this one. And okay. Jeff Whitcher, this is the last record I'm going to show today, guys. He got this record, and he said it was the last Emerson, Lake Palmer record that he did not have, and so he bought it, and he was glad to have it. It has that really, kind of awful cover. But I found one, and I was thinking about Jeff, and here it is, boom. Love Beach, right? Well, this is sealed. Now, the vinyl, I mean, not the vinyl, but the shrink is a little messed up. And this is a 43-year-old record. And I'm just going to go ahead and break the seal on the shrink. Let's do it. And let's see what this baby's like. All right. Yeah, it was still sealed. It is a cutout. Oh, nice. So, and you know, I never had this on vinyl because I wouldn't have bought it. I love Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So here we go. It's in great shape, really great shape on Atlantic. And yeah, so this is it's never been played. This is the first time it's been open. And it is a cutout. Let me show you. The edge is a little dinged up, but so what? I mean, I'll take the shrink off. I'll put it in a nice sleeve. And guys, thanks so much. Yeah, so these are all my honest to goodness thrift store finds in the past like 7-8 days, actually. So, hey, I'll see you on the next video. And I'm doing Tuesday new vinyl buys tomorrow. All right, cheers.